Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Gary the Elysium's back. Again, I know I keep saying this, it's just been hard. Got a lot of things going on, it's hard for me to keep up with the videos. And yes, for those of you wondering, I did get my hair cut. Um, it was 3/4 of the way down my back. Now it's short. I don't know, I like it. It was a lot. Anyway, why we're here is I'm going to be doing an update video of some of the new stuff I've gotten the other day. There's a lot of new stuff I've gotten since my last video, but I don't know. I felt like I wanted to make a video of this stuff. So I visited a local CD store, and majority of the stuff they had for 3 for $5. Basically, they didn't really know what they wanted. It's more of a classic rock shop, and this stuff it's blended in with some hard rock, metal, stuff like that. So awesome. Yeah, unfortunately, side note, I'm a huge Phillies fan. Unfortunately, I can't get the game for some reason, and Schwarber just hit a home run during the NLCS. Anyway, let's get back to this video. Yeah, as I was saying, 3 for $5. So I obviously loaded up, and I got some new releases here. Let's get right into it. First one is Whitechapel, Mark of the Blade, and it's actually autographed by the band. Whitechapel, one of my I guess they're called considered deathcore. I just consider them straight death metal. I got into them when they released This Is Exile in 2008. I remember seeing that cover and I was like, this looks like a decent band. I'm gonna grab it, pick it up. I do remember listening to this album. I don't know if I have this, but I definitely don't have it autographed. So glad to have that. This next band is a band that I've listened to sparingly, never got fully into, and at the price and the catalog, and I was like, why not? So it's him. First one here is Razorblade Romance. I know I've definitely had this back when this was out. This was kind of their breakthrough here in the United States. It's a band from Finland. Him is a kind of a melodic, gothic, hard rock. I wouldn't call them metal. Although this next album, not this next album, but one of them, they have metal in the title. This is Deep Shadows and Brilliant Highlights, the follow-up to Razorblade Romance. Sorry about the glare there. This one, Love Metal, it has their symbol, which they call the heartagram instead of the pentagram. I know Love Metal and Razorblade Romance were the two that I previously owned, and I like I said, I listened to them sparingly, but I never fully got into them. This is a greatest hits compilation from 97 to 2004 called And Love Said No. So one of the weird things here, looking up these albums, now I believe it's because they were released in Finland originally and not released in the United States until a few years later. But like, looking at it, this is a copy of 2003. But when I looked it up, it says it was released in 2000. This was released in like 2001 or something. This was released in 2003, even though it was released here in 2005, and that's what it says here. And this says 2007 on the back, although it said it was released in 2004. So if anyone knows the reason why, let me know. I'm just pretty sure that's because that's the original release dates in Finland, and I have the American versions. Another one, Venus Doom. And this was a limited edition. This is Screamworks, Love and Theory and Practice, chapters 1 through 13. It is a 2-disc limited edition. The second disc, I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's the same album, acoustic. I didn't get a chance to pop it out. I wanted to before this video, but I didn't. And the last one I got by them is, I forget what this is called, honestly. Something in, but I had to look it up because if you can see the spine there, they're in like symbols or some kind of lettering. I looked this up for the video and I forget what it's called. Anyway, that's a band I'm not too familiar with, but I'm going to check them out. Another band I've been listening to a lot lately. It took me a while to get into them. When their breakthrough album came out, Leviathan, I liked it. I didn't really get into anything else though, but I went back and listened to it, and this album, Remission, was the album before Leviathan. This is Mastodon. This is with Remission. Great album. They're at like a prog metal. Mastodon's pretty popular. I mean, you guys know who they are. But for those of you who don't, they're kind of like a prog metal. They have death growls, kind of hard. It's kind of prog metal is the best way to explain it. And then we have Blood Mountain. Another one of their classic albums, I know. But like I said, that's a band that I do listen to more often than I have before. I just didn't own all their stuff, so I'm glad to have them too, because those are definitely two of their greatest albums. This one was like, I don't remember seeing this. It's And All That Could Have Been, which was the live album by Nine Inch Nails. All That Could Have Been live was the live album taken from the Fragile tour. This one here is called And All That Could Have Been, and it says Halo 17 CD2, and I'm looking and I'm like, well, yeah, I know the songs. It kind of sounds like the crowd noise was definitely lowered or removed altogether on some of it. Turns out this is like super rare, and on Discogs it's going for like around $40, brand new like $85. So I'm glad to have it. Not that I'm going to sell it. I am a Nine Inch Nails fan. After the Fragile, actually I should say, after With Teeth, they kind of lost me a little bit. Well, Trent, not they. But yeah, it was cool to find that. And then I found this one, The Slip, which is turns out another rare one, because it was a limited edition digipack with a DVD and the CD. And then we have Hesitation Marks by Nine Inch Nails. So this one I listened to. I really like it. I remember this came out. I don't know why I didn't pick it up. I remember it having decent reviews. Turns out Lindsey Buckingham plays on a few songs on guitar, and like 3/4 of the album, Adrian Belo is on guitar, which is obviously like prog rock god there as far as guitars. Next up, I have this Metallica bootleg. I don't even know what these things are. They're like bootlegs, but they're being sold everywhere. They're kind of like radio broadcasts taken from the soundboard. But this is called Berserker. This is live in Copenhagen, 1996. Copenhagen broadcast. Copenhagen, of course, Denmark, where Lars is from. 2 CDs, 21 tracks altogether. The main reason I got it is because you don't really hear too much live stuff from the mid to late 90s from Metallica, besides S&M, even though that was 99, and then the live shit is actually from the Black Album tour. So this is taken from the Load tour. So I figured it'd be cool to check out. Obviously I'm not the biggest fan of Load, but there's a couple songs on there I've never heard them play live, or I don't have them playing live on CD, so I figured I'd pick it up. This next up, not something I thought I'd ever buy. This is a band called A Day to Remember, and this is the Homesick Deluxe Edition album. So basically, I went to a show back in December, Day to Remember. It was a date, so I treated her to the show, and they sat down and did all acoustics. Wasn't a bad show. Not my favorite band, not something I'd always listen to, but overall, I guess this is a emo metalcore band, but they're pretty heavy. I don't care for the singing. I like the screaming and I like the growls, but I don't care for the singing. But apparently this is like their big album. This is their classic album, so I picked it up. I don't care. I'm not ashamed. Next up, one of my favorite bands. This is Thin Lizzy live, BBC One. I do have a BBC 2 CD collection, which probably has a lot of this stuff on here. I didn't look, but this is from 1983. John Sykes. So some of the stuff from Thunder and Lightning is on here. It's definitely a heavier live album. So I was glad to pick this up, and just love that cover. One of the CDs I've been looking for that I wasn't able to get. And speaking of live stuff, this is Dokken, Live from the Sun. This is a 2000 release. So it is the original band, Don Dokken, Jeff Bilson, Mick Brown. However, George Lynch is not on guitar. It features Reb Beach on guitar. Red Beach actually, played with Winger. He's a good guitarist. I mean, he's not George Lynch. Of course, we would have all liked to see hear the entire original lineup, or classic lineup, I should say, not the original one, as we all know. Don Dokken started on his own, but yeah, cool stuff. It's always cool to hear these guys late 90s, 2000s input when nu metal was just huge and they didn't really have an outlet at the time. So going back, I like hearing stuff like that. I think it's pretty cool. This one, for some reason, I must have lost it because I know I have it. It's a 1994 album from Testament Low. Still a heavy album. Alex Skolnick was not in the band this time. It was when he left. This is, I feel like, their true 90s album. I know it's not the first album they released in the 90s, but this was kind of we're trying to go commercial, we're trying to stay relevant, which a lot of 90s bands did. Unfortunately, not all metal bands could have been Pantera in the 90s. And then this next up, well, these three are new releases. This one, I believe, came out last week. So I'm sure a lot's been going on and said. This band's been getting a lot of promotion lately, especially online. It's the band Crosses, which is a side product of Chino Moreno, the lead singer of Deftones. Which, yeah, I have the Deftones self-titled album she's heard on. Excuse me. So this is more of a, I want to say, kind of more similar to a synthwave vibe. And yeah, that's it's called Crosses. It's not spelled out. It's just 3 crosses. So yeah, definitely a synthwave vibe on this, with Chino singing, and it's actually a cover of Boys Don't Cry in Here, featuring Robert Smith. I'm sorry, Boys Cry. It's not a cover. It's a weird rendition. But yeah, it's not something I'd always listen to, but being a fan of early Deftones and still getting the Deftones stuff, and whatever, had to pick it up. All right. 2 new releases that came out today. First up is Duff McKagan with Lighthouse. Duff McKagan, as we all know, is the bass player of Guns N' Roses. He's had a semi-successful solo career. I think more because the band he was in, Guns N' Roses. The only thing I don't want to say the only thing, but the one album I really, really liked was when he had this band called Loaded. It was called Duff McKagan's Loaded. Came out, I want to say, around 2008, 9, that time. This I haven't listened to yet, but I'm gonna have to pop it on. I'll let you know how it is. Also features Slash on here on the song, Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains on the song, and it ends with Iggy Pop. So Duff sings, plays guitar on this. I'm sure he's a bass player, so I'm sure he'll throw some bass on here. Cool artwork. Comes with a poster in there of Duff, and yeah, like I said, I gotta throw it on and listen to it. And last but not least, one of my favorite bands of all time, and as you can see, I wasn't expecting this album to be this good. It's Hackney Diamonds by the Rolling Stones. This album is phenomenal. I'm going to say this is the best album they put out since Tattoo You. I did not expect it to be this great. It was produced by Andrew Watt, who is a newer musician, studio musician, producer. I know he produced an Ozzy record, played guitar on his record. I like the guy. I like the work he's done. But this album is amazing. Not a bad track on here. It's got the classic Stones sound, and I don't want to say anymore because I want to do a review. I'm going to do a review video of this album on the next video. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. That way you can get the update of when I post this review, which will be very soon. It's not going to be a long wait like I usually make you guys do. I know I always say this, but I would like to get back into doing these videos more often. A couple other things going on. I'm actually just recently getting a new band together where I play bass in. Something that I love. I love to feel the groove. And it gives me a break from playing the guitar so much, and I kind of like the bass where I could just kind of just jam out and groove out. But anyway, thanks for watching. Again, Gary of the Elysiums here. Hit that subscribe button. Please like this video. I'd appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video when we review Hackney Diamonds. Take care.